There we go. And now to make sure it works. Aha. I got it to work. Awesome. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have controller support, which I'm upset by, but whatever. So, like I was saying before, this is Lawman Question. Thank you for all for joining me. I'm trying to do more streams, or at least get on a set schedule. So Saturday is going to be the scary game night, I guess. I'm going to try and play a little more Prey as well. But that'll probably most likely be during the weekdays. Each episode of Prey, I want to do like a new area that I go to. So like the first episode was Lobby, second episode was Hardware Lab. The next episode, I completely forgot where I'm going. But Saturdays, I want to play one of the Penumbra Amnesia storyline. So we're starting off with Penumbra Overture. And this is a game from Frictional Games. It is apparently the first in the entire Penumbra Amnesia story. So, just follow along on this adventure with me. Let's see, for players who are bad at action games, recommended, suits most players. For players wanting a real challenge, let's just go normal. My story began in February year 2000. So this isn't going in
For my
chronological
part in
order.
this allegory, I'm not going to make the same mistakes my father made. Howard vanished from my mother's life before I was even in it, so when he sent me a letter a few days after Mum's funeral, it was the first I'd ever heard from him. Pity he was dead. Writing from beyond the grave must be a genetic habit in my bloodline. His letter contained a key, instructions, pleas for forgiveness. I figured the dead don't have much use for absolution, so I turned to his prophetic passing, which he inexplicably expected to come any day. Clearly averse to explanations, my father preferred to leave directions to a bank on Mayfair I'd never even heard of. In that bank was a safety deposit box in his name, and myself as executor. Of course, I went, as he knew I would. I discovered that despite the evidence, he'd been legally declared dead almost 30 years ago, and so the old book and collection of notes I found had, in the eyes of the law, been mine all this time. My father's instructions were to burn the documents, raise no further questions. But that was his error. No man's immune to the shameful trappings of curiosity, and my humanity got the better of me. The university I taught at was world renowned for two things: physics and linguistics. I represented the first, and the man who stood for the second was stumped by my recent acquisition. The book was indecipherable. The notes, however, showed a location somewhere in uninhabited northern Greenland. It took me almost a year to book the last flight I'd ever taken. As I watched civilization disappear along with Heathrow, I realised my father had disappeared 3 decades ago, almost to the day, and I considered in turn what it was that I was leaving behind. We landed on a strip of ice a few feet wide, and within minutes I was pulling away on a chartered boat, beginning the 12-hour journey that would lead me into my past.
So my question is, if the father's letter basically just said burn everything, burn the documents and all that, why didn't he just burn them himself before he disappeared? Finally, we're almost done. But it's still my gear. Maybe far from home, but chances are I can still pick things up using the left mouse. I can take a closer look at things using the right mouse. So sure this map's a good decade or so out of date, but landmarks don't change much in Greenland, so I've got a pretty decent idea of where I'm heading. Always good to have a notebook, jot down interesting information and reminders. I think I left my torch on the desk drawer next to the bed, or in the desk drawer next to the bed. It can be opened using the left mouse on it, holding the button down and moving the mouse. Alright, so, oh yeah, that looks good. I had to turn up the gamma all the way because the Penumbra and basically all the frictional games, they're all super dark. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's go and grab the flashlight. I'm grabbing the flashlight. The flashlight switches on and off via the tutorial tab, or tutorial inventory tab. I can't talk or read apparently, or hopefully with the shortcut key F. Now where's the emergency glow stick? Should be in the locker. Here's the keys in the inventory tab. Always travel with a padlock and a key, preferably. Mine's the inventory tab. Aha. Good thing I have my torch in hand. Come in handy if the torch runs out of batteries. Could be able to access it through my inventory or some extra batteries to power my flashlight. Okay, what are we looking at here? This is puppies. And a lady. We are ready to continue. As I stepped off the boat, setting out in the blizzard that had formed around me, I realized how utterly devoted I had been to discovering the past. I had no idea what to expect. Soon enough, my concerns were justified. I don't know whether I lost my orientation or my spirit first, but I lost feeling my extremities soon after I knew that the third was setting in. I started looking for shelter. So I pulled whatever I am. I need to find shelter soon. This looks like a mistake. This is my head. I can't believe I fell that far and survived. Empty box of ammunition. What is this place? Oh yeah. Be anything inside it. Could even be a boat. You know how much we wanted one of those. Let's see if I can swing this hammer. If I can hold the left mouse, I can make a back swing with holding the right mouse, and then follow through by pushing left. So it works too. Pulling back and then thrusting forward. Alright, if I hold down. Okay. First. Yeah, let's do that. So. To-do list. There's nothing in there. Notes. Nothing in there. Gathered all this. Oh. Okay, that's how it works. Maybe don't do that while I'm in here, you know? Health and better. Whatever I was descending into, it was 100 feet below ground, protected by two solid metal hatches, located in a remote Arctic wilderness and buried beneath the snow. I I know what to expect, but it made me feel something I hadn't felt since I was a child. I'd never given it much thought before, but I realized that our entire society is a network of safety nets, emergency services at the end of a phone line, health and safety in the workplace, friends, family, lovers, all there if something goes wrong. Part of a carefully designed structure to prevent all but the most mundane of emotions. Once again, I felt like I did when I was in school, surrounded by a closing ring of older kids, knowing anyone that might help me, friends, parents, teachers, were too scared. Oh. Be anything living down here, heroes are for Hollywood actors and fairy tales. I'm not taking chances. If I face off against anything down here, I won't last a second. Caution and stealth are my only defenses now. If anyone or anything hears me, I'd be best off staying low and out of sight until I know whether or not it's a threat. Crouching by pressing left control will give me the chance to hide in the shadows. I'll know I've got it right because of the blue tint to my vision. Plus, I should be quiet enough that I won't be heard unless something's right on top of me. Better remember to shut off any light sources though. I don't even know if anything's down here. Storage room. More storage room. I don't even know where I'm going. What is this? Oh, what the hell? What just happened? Oh, that was such a good idea. I touched the thing. The work of a child or deranged mind. Locked. Locked from the other side. Does that mean there's someone still inside? I can hear chattering, thank God. Write down a note just in case. Nope. This is the cave is caved in. There must be another way out. There's a locked door with odd noises coming from behind it in the storage. Cool. Okay. Well, I've done all I can in this area. Oh God, is something down here? start racing. If anything gets within more than a few feet of my hiding spot, I better not stare at anything within my field of vision. It might panic me, and then I'm a goner. That's a dog. A puppy. Office. August 1945. Command Bunker, Emergency Airstrip Zulu Weekly Report. Another unremarkable week in Greenland. Regular supply shipment received. Standard emergency drills carried out. Routine runway maintenance completed. I have ordered maintenance to be carried out twice weekly from here on in due to increased snowfall. One wounded figure is no cause for concern back in London. The Germans haven't extended their front line by 4,000 miles. 2 of my men were caught manufacturing cherry bombs in our workshop/armory and succeeded in blowing off a couple of fingers. I take partial responsibility for this, in that I allowed them access to the demolitions manual we keep in the storeroom. Now I'm sure that's where they learned the ingredients. As a precautionary measure, I have now locked up the manual in the chest in my office and will keep the key on my person at all times. Needless to say, both men have been disciplined and the injured man has been sent home for medical care. I cannot help but think that a more suitable punishment would have been for him to stay out here, but the matter is out of my hands. The base is so disconnected sometimes I feel as if this war could end, and we might not even hear about it out here. Supplies requisition order. Dynamite for excavation purposes. 7 bayonets, not necessary in my opinion, but procedure states we should have a full complement. 1 industrial ice pick for removing the damn ice that forms on the external hatch. 1 pair of reading glasses, category 7C, in order for myself. My glasses are in a rather poor state of repair and could do with replacing. Reconditioning of the mine continues to progress. The structure is being fortified from potential bomb damage, and excavation of previously caved-in areas going ahead. 1 point of curiosity is some kind of archaeological find, an artifact buried in the earth and discovered by one of the work teams. Later this evening, after martial duty, I shall take a closer look at the artifact. It appears to be man-made and may have working parts inside. I shall remove what looks like the front cover and see if I can't discover the source of light which constantly emanates from it. Dude. no stranger. Never seen before. Still, I know this man before me is Howard. I call him Father. It was different, but the same. That time, I had more control. But over what? An old artifact. It's a picture of a British platoon. It must be dated back to World War II. I suppose this mine was converted into some kind of bunker. Typewriter dates back even further than the war. Made in Germany, 1923. Heading out. Looks as if this basement caved in some years ago. Something's tunneling through here more recently, though. Christ, what sort of creature makes these work? A spider? I don't like spiders. Well, of course it's a spider. Horrible sight. Luckily, it's mummified, or else the smell would have been awful. Gonna look for the way that I need to go first. Pretty sure it's past the steam. Dry, dusty old bags. It looks like a brain. Sort of. Day 1. I begin this record still in the hope that the great work we have undertaken here might one day be of scientific value. Despite the chaos which has ensued in the 6 hours previous, my aim is to remain secure until what help there may be arrives. And to that end, I have barricaded myself into a small workshop area of the abandoned part of the mine. I hope that the meager, gotta be able to talk properly. The meager food rations here will keep me alive, and that those I hide from will not jeopardize that. Perhaps this mine really is cursed. It's almost precisely 30 years since the incident that brought us here, and now 30 years on, fate has struck again. Day 3. I forecasted that today the rescue crews would arrive, but I can only hypothesize that they would be unaware of my location and hence busied themselves excavating the other survivors. If they had not arrived by tomorrow, I will go out in search of them. Day 6. My first mistake was to make assumptions on the matter of rescue. My second mistake was to make assumptions on the safety of this mine. My third mistake was to act on both those assumptions in going outside of my safe haven. My best estimate is that I left the workshop where I was secured about 2 days ago in search of aid, and I have found only danger. I approached the old living quarters, but curiously could find no sign of life whatsoever. I returned in what I thought was the direction from which I had come, but soon found myself in an unfamiliar locale. Confused but focused, I attempted to make my way home, but found myself threatened by some species of feral creature which seems to have made this old mine its home. Although the specimen bore significant interest in me, I chose to retreat, only to find myself outmaneuvered and outnumbered by the beast. I turned and ran, injuring my ankle in the process, which I believe now is most likely a sprain rather than a fracture. For some time, I cowered and fled into the dark, but a few hours ago I discovered a door leading to a smaller, disused part of the mine, the key for which I still have in my pocket. Within that area I discovered this storeroom, and I think it should keep me safe for some time. This place is a maze. My lesson learned, I will not venture out again until I am certain the area is safe. Day 19. Rescue seems increasingly unrealistic. Supplies diminishing. Lots of spiders in this place. I do not like spiders. Day 34. I caught one of the accursed 8-legged beasts nestling in my open mouth when I woke up this morning. To my surprise, I swallowed it. It's not so much the act of swallowing which concerns me, but the genus of arachnid. It would be unlikely that a cave-dwelling spider would be venomous to any significant degree. The possibility troubles me at all the same. Day 35. Any known venom would have affected me by now. And so today is the first minor cause for celebration I have had since the incident. By lucky coincidence, this revelation also means I have discovered a virtually inexhaustible supply of nutrition. I intend to venture into the basement beneath this storeroom in the name of science to discover more about these creatures' natural habitat. Day 50. 4 days now. And for 4 days now, I have been surviving solely off the quite considerable sustenance provided by the spiders. For some time, I was struggling to gather enough of the crunchy little morsels. However, Lady Luck smiled on me once more when the batteries of my torch died, and I made a second life-saving find. The creature's natural habitat is in the dark. With my light now diminished, I need only lie still for a few minutes, and I will have attracted enough of the beast for a rather hearty meal. Oh no, 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 no. If I do this... I'm not going to try and attract spiders to me. Ow. Oh, eggshells. Fantastic. It's Oh, it's to attract the dogs. Okay. Day 71. My earlier assumptions on the benign nature of my cellmates may have made an error. After careful autopsy, I am concerned that there may be a small volume of natural chemicals stored in the stomach, which, if ingested regularly over a period of time, may become psychotropic or even lethal. My only real chance is to break out of here and raid any stashes of supplies I can find. However, the evidence against such a move is insurmountable. 1. I have no source of light. 2. I swore to myself I wouldn't leave until I heard human voices outside. 3. Spiders are so tasty. Ugh, gross. Day 100. From the marks I have been making on the walls and my scribbled diary entries, which in the dark may amount to an illegible scrawl, today is the 100th day of my new life. Over the past month, my edible friends have become more and more aggressive and swelled in number and size. Whether or not this is a result of my plundering their ecosystem, I am unsure. However, at this rate of growth, they will soon be too large to crawl through the gaps in the walls. For all I know, I could only be seeing the tip of the iceberg. If all fails, and I am never recovered, I hope at least that my study of, and indeed involvement with, these fascinating creatures will one day be regarded as an important point in natural history. The greatest names in modern science got there more through fluke than talent, and it appears that the rule has extended itself to my discovery of this delicious new species. I'm afraid that the second rule deems my breakthrough too insignificant, for all great discoveries tend to consume their inventor. Yeah, this guy's not gonna have a good time. Come on. Shots appear to be quite common. Well, I appear to be getting batteries. up batteries and that's it. Oh. Okay, so I think this ladder was originally used for this. Yeah. I think someone's been dragged through here. I've never seen this much blood before. My best chance to get answers. Who else is down here? Pool isn't large enough for a man, not that I'd go anywhere near it. Even if it was, what burrowed out of this tunnel? Spiders. The dude's been eating the spiders, and the spiders got revenge. Day 200. It has been some time since I recorded any findings in relation to the spiders, with whom I have shared my existence for the past 8 months, partially due to my enforced retreat from their basement territory. Not too long ago, their behavior became overly aggressive, and so I have attempted to barricade the main entrance to the lair, and secure myself within one of the smaller rooms above it, the only one with an operational door lock. The other reason is that I have been recovering from a minor operation, which I was forced to conduct myself without the aid of anesthetic. Even if I did have any anesthetic or surgical tools, I couldn't afford to be less than diligent in my work, so anesthetic was out. The surgical tools are all well and good, but although I may be becoming old and rusty, I still trust my penknife to do the job just as well. The procedure itself was elementary enough, a simple amputation of a non-vital organ. I began to notice a thick glue-like substance forming on my tongue, and I was forced to accept that I had become infected through constant toxin ingestion. Day 300. Another century of days comes and goes. It seems like so long since I escaped here. At some stage since my last entry, I attempted to return from whence I came. That from which I originally was fleeing seems a fate far worse than the one I now face. However, in the time since I arrived from the larger mine system, a cave-in has occurred, blocking any further progress. I was forced to return and accept whatever life had in store for me. Still hear my aggressive little friend scratching on the door to my cell. No, cat. No. Years and years of reports, logs, and files just left here to gather dust. Probably a century of life and death right here at my feet. No. That's a tongue. Largest spider I've ever seen with its gut carved open. So what is this key for? Pretty sure it's for that one space. I gotta crouch through here. Yeah, hi. Want to do that? Didn't want to do that. That didn't work. Shot. Fantastic. Code to the workshop. There's the dog. Be right back. Copenhagen Post. Monday, 17th August 1930. Psychotropic deposits at the bottom of that mine. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen have suggested that mind-altering chemicals naturally sewn into the rock may be the cause of high suicide rates at a Greenland mine. The university, which has recently been conducting studies into isolated communities, first became interested in the workers of the northwestern lead mine last year. Discovered that even taking into account Greenland's naturally higher suicide rate, local figures for the past 100 years were abnormally high at 46 deaths per 100,000 populace compared to the national average of 29. On further investigations, experts diagnosed in many of the miners symptoms in common with earlier stages of paranoid schizophrenia. This prompted researchers to hypothesize that natural deposits of lysergic acid, a pH4 formula recently discovered to have hallucinogenic properties, may be present in the rocks. Few locals were conducive to interview, but those who agreed to speak had their own explanation. Inuit spirits known as the Tungit live in the mountains. The university is awaiting the results of chemical testing studies Okay, so I have a key. The key goes here. So well, where are the chest storage valuables? There we go. Big book of explosives. Chapter 1.3, Black Match Fuse. Black Match Fuse is one of the oldest, simplest, and most reliable fuses used in modern pyrotechnics. It is easy to create, essentially consisting of just string and gunpowder, but be warned the chemicals concerned will strain clothing, and as always due concern as advised. Material: string, preferably cotton, black gunpowder, and backstring. Backstring. The string should be coated with a thin layer of backstring, which acts as an adhesive. String is then carefully rolled in the gunpowder, which left to dry at least a couple of minutes before use. Okay. Chapter 2.1, Dynamite. Invented by Alfred Nobel in 1866, dynamite is commonly used in construction, mining, and demolition. It has proved far safer to handle than alternatives such as pure nitroglycerin. Oh geez. Apologize? Provided that is, it has been properly stored. Over time, the explosive component of dynamite, supposedly made safe by the presence of the diatomaceous earth, has a tendency to weep, making an old box of explosives liable to detonate on contact. Materials required: 1 part diatomaceous earth, 3 parts nitroglycerin, small amount of sodium carbonate. Text unreadable, and then simply form into short sticks and wrap in paper. TNT was first discovered in 1863 by German chemist Joseph Wilbran, but it took some years before it yielded its true potential. This was because of the difficulty of making it explode and the lesser detonation in comparison to dynamite. The main advantage was discovered by the German Navy, who employed TNT's relative explosive stability in order to cause massive damage to British warships. Their torpedoes could be detonated inside a ship's armor rather than exploding on contact, as did other shells. Armstrong's mixture is included in this book as more of a point of interest than as a valuable chemical mix. The formula exists as somewhat of a legend in modern pyrotechnics, referenced by those knowledgeable enough to stay away from it. It's death mix. It's incredible volatility make it unsuitable for almost all potential application. Materials required: red, phosphorus, and barium. This mixture can be carefully and slowly mixed to minimize risk to chemists. Sulfur can substitute for some or all of the barium to slightly decrease sensitivity. So red, phosphorus, and sulfur. Explosives. Yeah, old Smith makes you see better days. Oh. Okay, what am I gonna have to do with that? 'Cause I'm gonna have to carry it somewhere. Here? Yep, here. I love my workshop. It is too great a hunting ground to let others gorge their faces. One cannot help but feel for those with such delicate mousy morsels on which to munch. For Red ate ravenously of their flesh today, and shall continue to do so. This is possible thanks solely to the button pad I installed on the door. Yet Red's mind is working somewhat backwards today. Okay, so it's going to be 8412. Bit on the nose. We'll wheel on some other scraps. And I'm in. Not yet, at least. This hole's at least 3 feet below the surface, the light's being refracted through all that ice. Some pieces. Nope. All things needed to be successful as a carpenter. Must be tied into what's going on here. If I keep experimenting, I may discover something useful, or have a heart attack. Yeah, either or. I could discover something useful, or I could just die. spider webs. I hope that hole was here before the spiders, not the other way around. Actually, these webs makes my skin crawl. Electric fence, and it's been put up recently. We're find a way to get over. This is for. Or I could just use the barrel. This loose battery is powering the fence. It can't be that long ago this is all set up. Locked. Damn it, how am I gonna get there now? This door looks very old and weak. Here's Johnny. I got dynamite. Fantastic. Oh, nothing too practical. This again. I may never get used to that. Explosives. not too small now. Oh yeah, when I look back, I can't think what spurred me to deeper into the mine. Perhaps it was arrogance of still being alive, or something as ridiculous as facing adversity and coming out on top. Now, I know I would have been better off starving or being mauled to death than kick-starting the chain of events that led me to end up here, writing to you. I just hope, once you understand my story, you will have what's necessary to put an end to this tale. I certainly didn't. Yeah, that's where I came in. A room. Was down here so alien compared to the way sound traveled to the surface. That rock almost sounded organic. Could it have been because it was? Okay, so Steelberg generator type 7G. Congratulations on your purchase from the Type 7 product line. We're certain that you will be pleased with your new petrol-driven electrical backup system. Below are highlighted just a few of the added and improved features of the 7G model. Avoid personal wear and tear. The wind-up startup motor has been replaced with a battery-driven unit. Grease in the industrial workplace can be an accident-inducing insurance nightmare, so enjoy the new increased grease control system. Electrical installation can be expensive to install and maintain, so the economical 7G basic model will rise without, and much, much more. Quick start guide. 1. Ensure the area surrounding the 7G is clear of equipment and personnel in case of overheating. 2. Connect and confirm secondary flow by turning appropriate valve. 3. Turn on cooling system to avoid overheating. 4. Release excess steam until pressure is within safe limits. 5. Begin grease flow, ensuring leakage is minimal. 6. Turn main valve and confirm primary flow. 7. Pull main operation lever. 8. And check energy output. Your unit should now be fully functional. Cool. Cool. And I got battery power now. Oh. That was... I keep forgetting. It feels as if I'm leaving my body for just a moment, but not just hovering around. It's like I go someplace. What are these things? industrial fuses. Because they are. Thing's huge. It must be about 3.5 megawatts, but it's pretty old. Certainly not enough few volts. Kind of protective screen, maybe? What did it protect from? How many accidents they had before this was put up? I shudder to think. Well. Now they're gonna have more accidents. I am a mess. What even is down here and why? Why did I come down here? Whatever. A hole in the ground. Starter motor of the like the one that should be here, but it is not. Means oh, it's a puppy. Okay. Go ahead and close that. It says 50 amp fuses, but the box is empty. Still, the contents can't be far away. Emergency procedures. The the event of an emergency, all mine workers are asked to follow the standard emergency procedure detailed in the leaflet provided. Rescue services will already be on their way, and so under no circumstances should employees attempt to aid colleagues themselves or contact the emergency services. This code sheet is provided for use of an extremely unlikely event that you are trapped in the mine with no way in which to signal or otherwise contact emergency crews. In this scenario, you should 1. Ensure the stability of the surrounding environment by gently tapping and feeling the rock. 2. Once you feel certain that there is no risk of rock slide, check to see if you have any form of communications device at hand and attempt to send distress signal using this code sheet. 3. Should such a device be unavailable or damaged, begin firmly tapping out a message on the wall of the cave. Rescue crews will hear you and arrive promptly to dig you out. Morse. Okay. Okay. Alright. Alright then. I kind of like the glow stick better. I think it illuminates better than the flashlight does. Okay. Come right here. If we can come over the speakers, maybe there's someone out there after all. Oh, January 72. Boys, I've come to have a word with you myself, but I've got more important things to do than just about making sure you're all doing your jobs properly. Now, I know there's a certain amount of camaraderie between you lot, playing pranks and jokes on each other. It comes with the territory, and that's fine, as long as you don't add me to your list. God knows you need something to keep you entertained down here. However, you all know full well that Penrose has some very deep-seated issues with his hide. So anyone who thought it'd be a good idea to sabotage the generator and hide all the spare fuses on the top shelf in the storeroom would quite certainly need his head examined, if you get me. In other news, Jones, I want that inventory done yesterday, and the rest of you, it's not all fun and games here. On a serious note, another radio's gone missing. And you better hope to God that means that one of you's lost it. Because stealing ain't a pretty word in my book. It's the third one this month, which means the amnesty on coming clean is fast coming to a close. Then there'll be repercussions, got it? What's strange is you're all supposed to be working in pairs, so nobody should be able to get their hands on a radio without the other spotting it. I'm gonna find out who's responsible, I'm gonna find out how they got away with it so long, and I'm gonna fling them out into the snow and leave them there. They'll just disappear into the night, just like all those radios. Heard. The radio bars don't look spare at all. It looks like they've been put here recently. Okay, so he was talking about fuses. If the dog attacks me, then I kill the dog. Ha! Okay, I probably don't need it yet, so... making noises like, oh, there's enemy here. Five, seven, something, eight. Five, seven, three, eight. Okay. Puppy. 2 real quick. Might have to get used to that. Very simple on the side, but it's well to show that they had some kind of machine to open these. It's not here anymore. Oh. Okay. Battery in, startup motor functional. We should be set. Okay, and then I go grab the fuse. Oh, that's right. I couldn't just, reach up with my hand to pick it up. No. I had to grab a broom because I'm short. And turn it on once more. Oh, right. Should probably read the instructions again. Generator manual. Okay, ensure the surrounding area is clear of equipment and personnel. Connect and confirm secondary flow by turning appropriate valve. Turn on cooling system to avoid overheating. Release excess steam until pressure is within safe limits. Being grease flow. Turn main valve and confirm primary flow. Pull operation lever. Check energy output. Your unit should be fully functional. Okay, so connect and confirm secondary flow by turning appropriate valve. Okay. Turn on cooling system to avoid overheating. Release steam. Release excess steam until pressure is within safe limits. Begin grease flow. Grease flow is the last one. Okay, so what is this? Symbol's worn out. Should be able to work out what it does. Could be the letter I. Seriously? secondary. Probably Steam. That's Grease. Hmm. So 2 is definitely this one, because that's the second one. This is Steam. This could be a symbol for Grease. Oh, there we go. Cool. I'm gonna go kill a dog. Probably prevented access to my proper out of working hours. Something like that won't open with that power.
Good day. Good day, can you hear me? Well, I hope that your ears are working better than your tongue, so that you might use them to listen to my words. You have turned on the light at the end, beginning, and middle of the tunnel, but some things remain shrouded in darkness. My emergency message I hope has helped, but what you need now is to the wall hole to the right of the fence. Oh, go now, there is no time to explain. Well, in fact, time is one of the few things we have in abundance down here. What surprises are spoiled by such catty curiosity.
Oh. Oops. know you want me. This place is bigger than I thought. I feel like a rat caught in a maze. I should hope I have a longer life expectancy. Yeah, me too, buddy. Me too. Okay, so beyond the fence and to the right, there should be a hole or perhaps an access point to reach further into the mine.
My memory is like something with a great many small holes. We shall be needing to perform some minor demolition work so that we might one day meet again. For this task, we shall require the use of a large, earth-eating metal monster, and that monster is thirsty for juice from the place where things are kept. By the way, you can call me Red. It's not my name, you understand, but I am sure you will agree it is a name rather similar to a cardigan. Fetching when worn correctly.
So this is definitely stronger than bullshit. I like tools. Bullshit. This might make sure no reason why it wouldn't still be working. Alright, is Xeno report 66B, Phase 9, Anno 9002, Anno Domini 1992. Filed by Chief Attending Xeno Officer for the eyes of the leading installation officer only. Leader, unlike the other findings, 66B appears to be of manufactured rather than natural origin and so warrants additional interest and need SA security. The bulk of substance 63 was discovered only 6 yards from where artifact 66B was buried and appears at least in part to consist of a solidified form of 63 with a number of operable appendages. The artifact emits a low level of light from a seemingly inexhaustible energy supply, suggesting its origin is indeed as was suspected. Of course, the ramifications of this fact are clear and appropriate measures are already being taken. Progress in becoming enlightened as to the purpose of the device, if indeed it serves a purpose in the traditional sense at all, has been slow, following protocol to the letter. I assigned my secondary officer to the artifact on Phase 7 only for him to go missing the following day. They eventually returned to the site from a previously uncharted area of the mines, presumably having discovered a new route avoiding the cave-ins. At this stage, we can only assume what transpired since he remains in a state of disorientation. Far be it from me to question the decisions of the elevated caste, but I am struggling to understand the necessity of conducting standard scientific testing in this case. I, of course, have full faith in the abilities of the research team put together and sent here by my immediate supervisor. I simply wonder whether their time might be better employed on the main site. Nevertheless, it is comforting to know that the actions of every member of the organization are carefully choreographed and controlled by those far outranking myself, both in stature and wisdom, and with this in mind, I feel fully justified in filing an official request for further manpower. We've already lost a number of workers to unforeseen events, largely while engaging in the studies mentioned earlier, and further investigation of the area calls for volunteers to carry out tasks altogether too hazardous in nature to risk the well-being of more elevated organization members. In particular, the tunnel system above the secondary site requires immediate cartography. Well then, that was a thing. Alright, let's just keep going and get more battery life. More and more battery life. Well then, that is explosives. Puppies nearby. Puppy? Hi. Come on. Oh, come on. Combat in this game. Like, I know it's not supposed to be combat. You're supposed to stealth a lot of this stuff, but I am not dealing with the whole stealthy elements at this point.
Those holes in my mind are increasingly gaping. You cannot breach the inner sanctum of the place of storing. The entryway is blocked. So what if the squashy material between my ears is squashier than most? I may not be perfect like a hanging picture, but my words are wise and backed up by time. A pox on both your brain cells. Try as I may, you must think that I deceive you with my admittingly cunning ways. As far as my eye has seen, our rocky grave extends, and yet you cast away my hope like you would a puppy freshly rolled in its own feces. I hope that your warped sense of morality is better company than I, because now it is all you have left. I'm sorry. Sometimes my emotions are like a disobedient pet. Uncontrollable and often rolling in shit. Better safe than sorry, they say. But I think we are both sorrier than we are safe. A tunnel lies between a nearby watery cave and the place where things are kept. Take the second right from the closed door, and you will find what you seek.
That means puppy. Okay, so I'm gonna go this way. So I was already at the tool shed. Forgot a few things. I need a map. I need to figure out what's going on and where it's going and who's going on. All that good stuff. Here's a map. Okay, so I'm right here. Tool shed's right there. Storage I can't get into. Auxiliary shaft I can get to now because I sawed it open. Should I go into excavation? Can I go into excavation? I should not go into excavation. Okay, let's go to auxiliary. Oh, the dogs didn't respawn. What's these around? Yes, yes, they're all. Or a plethora of them around. Carry this with me. So I can jump on it anytime and kill all enemies. There. log, secondary excavation, Site B, beginning phase 338, Anno 9000, Anno Domini 1990, filed by Chief Attending Chemist, security status, nil, Anno 9000. Phase 338, today marks the first phase of Excavation Team B's new assignment, which I will be overseeing. Equipment has arrived and digging should be able to commence within the next few hours. Since the incident leading to the establishment of our facility here, much work has been undertaken in order to ascertain the scope of this discovery. This site, among others, was selected from many possible candidates thanks to the powerful divination techniques passed down for many generations amongst the elevator caste. And I feel certain that this wisdom, in combination with our own seismic techniques, will prove to be a great success, and that our discoveries will be of great importance to the organization. Best of luck, everyone. Phase 1. While work has been slow up until now, the new year is sure to bring with it great prosperity for our team. Perhaps we shall enjoy some of the luck that the other teams seem to already be harvesting. Further routine work reports will be filed in a secondary log, phase 275. While the routine log book has been filled many times over during the past 9 moons, there has been so little of interest to report that I find my previously enthusiastic entries to appear as if written by someone else entirely. These logs are not for personal thoughts, but since no one is ever likely to read them, I am probably safe in saying that I sometimes catch myself wishing I never received this assignment at all, and was still stationed at the main facility. We discovered a tunnel system today running through the roof of the cave, which caused a minor rock slide, but no serious injuries were sustained. More's the pity. Perhaps at this place where a hazard, we could all be reassigned. The noises in the mine at night are beginning to play with my mind. That is, when you can tell what time of day it is. Phase 341. Although I have now been in charge of Site B for 2 cycles, this marks my first entry into the excavation log as the new Chief Attending Chemist. Looking through the scarce results filed for the initial year's work, I can see why my predecessor was replaced. In a fraction of that time, I have achieved Team B's first major breakthrough in the discovery of previously unknown Substance 63, and the research team has been assigned tasks in a record time. I fully expect complete identification of the substance to be available within 7 phases. Furthermore, I have conducted an investigation of the noises reported by workers in this area of the mine. In the interest of morale on nights that I spend here, there do appear to be strange human-like cries coming from somewhere deep in the rocks, but there is bound to be some explanation. Anno 9002. Phase 6, following the discovery of Substance 63, my team has had a second triumph in the unearthing of Artifact 66B. My team and I will, of course, deal with this finding with our usual level of efficiency. The cast has seen fit to bring in a Xeno team in order to further extract the true nature of the artifact. I applaud their foresight in this decision, and would only note that if given the chance, my chemistry team would have performed at least as well in this task. In additional notes, I have completed my analysis of the wailing and chattering sounds reported by those spending large amounts of time in this lookout. Conclude that it is a symptom of dehydration. Lack of water caused very mild hallucinations, which, combined with the quite natural seismic activity, can sound a little like human voices. A thorough medical examination of the afflicted workers has been recommended. For the interest of continuing work at maximum capacity, I have instead ordered increased water supplies and implemented an obligatory 3-minute water break once every 5 hours. Came to my attention today that the job of mapping the overhead tunnel system in this cave is long overdue. Something overlooked from way back during the first stage of the excavation, sadly, before my arrival for those that would already have been otherwise it would already have been completed. The officer in charge of the Xeno team is increasingly becoming an obstacle to my own team's research. He insists on overseeing perfectly routine tasks when, given the defection of second in command yesterday, I would suggest his time is better spent taking control of his own responsibilities. At heart, however, I believe him to be a thoroughly devoted follower, which is why I'm certain he would leap at the chance to volunteer for the surveying of the tunnel system. I have tried warning him of the potential hazards, but he simply will not take no for an answer, and asks that I ensure those higher up understand his enthusiasm. In a most phase 18, in a most disheartening turn, Chief Xeno officer has not returned from his brave exploration of the tunnel system. Phase 24, in the days since Chief Xeno officer's foolhardy trespassing into the tunnel system, which now appears to be make up the domain for various aggressive local fauna. Said creatures have become increasingly hostile, venturing into the excavation site on more than one occasion. This is something which I will be keeping a close eye on. Phase 50. This will be the final entry into the log for excavation site B. Events have forced us to curtail our work. We have taken more than one casualty to the organisms living above the cave system, leaving us no choice but to carry what equipment and documentation we can, abandoning all else. Their attacks have developed a discernible pattern, and we are do another in a few minutes. So I must hurry. It's ironic, the noises that have been reported since the initiation of the project are still present, except that now they sound more like laughing. Oh, that is disturbing. It's here. Ah, yes. What's the control station, that yellow monstrosity? Okay. Power cable. Out the door rises something vast, something terrible. It strikes the man, knocking him down, and those standing by him wither into the darkness. The screaming begins, begging. Still, Father looks on. Is he bringing this? Father, what have you done? I felt something that time like I didn't feel before, but I'm sure it's always been there. It's as if a small part of me is still trapped inside the artifact. Well, direction and see if we can find something. Shorter piece of fractured ladder lying on bed of metal splinters. Okay. The test substance continues to defy identification. Both chemical and xeno investigations fail to produce meaningful results. Testing continues. Test 102, grooming test. Test 103, okay. Bunch of tests. Human hallucinogenics. The man still clutching, still looking for what before him lies metal, jutting awkward from earth, a hatch, a portal, a hole, a door. Unfamiliar text. Who are these figures huddled around? What secrets are hidden behind the faces of men? Suppose I can trust these things a bit more. I'm not dead yet, still they must have a purpose. What could it be? Damn, I got the power on. Looks like some kind of excavation. Doesn't sound like any mining operation I've ever seen. I don't know where that mist is coming from. Oh man, it's getting closer. Nothing lays eggs that big. They're leathery. can't do melee at it. Or like in 50th sector, I really don't like the way they're moving. But this came from an animal. Oh. Oh. I killed myself.
Now you should find yourself in a watery game of conversation space, with a tunnel above you from times ahead. In this tunnel, for both sakes, be careful, not curious. I have already spoken to you about the cat, and repeating myself is not only out of the question, but out of the window and climbing down the guttering. There are spiders in the tunnels that love to suck on the humid fluids, so do not disturb the walls. They are fragile like the china vases in the hooves of the bull.
Oh!
There should be some insect repellent in that red and white cross box in that room. Just in case those spiders found your flesh delicious. How does my brain flesh know your fluids are leaking? Because Red tricked you. The spidery tunnel was far from a necessary evil. More so, it served as a well-deserved punishment. You thought my mind had been lost to the ravages of time, but poetic justice has struck with a sonnet and an eight-legged baptism of fire. With justice now served cold, I hope that we can be good friends. Now reclaim the key and go-go juice, and find a way to the mining monster.
These. I feel as if I'm not the only one getting crowded in there. And just one visitor of many strange thing is, they all seem familiar. generator, getting this crane going shouldn't be too tricky. Gasoline. Well, it's just the dogs aren't actually like dogs, they're just spiders inside of dead dogs or something. That's horrifying. Auxiliary shaft.
find the truth behind all this mystery, and think it will set you free. But truth is relative, and relatives cannot be trusted to bring good gifts. What you seek lies in the shafts beyond this collapsing of the sky, and if you look closely, so do I. A century of days has passed since I saw this area last. The diseased ones sought to kill poor Red, but I took them on a wild poultry chase. They ended dead. They came from out the big metal door, but after all my years, I knew the cave's lore. Hide and seek turned to seek and hide, and I buried them here beneath the solid rock sky.
Special note for this. Oh, needs ignition key. Okay. messed up when I went to the spider tunnel. So let me see if I can go back into it. I didn't really explore all that much there. But I think the tunnel maybe collapsed. Yeah, that was close. Ow. Well, let's see if there's another way back up there. Fine. May have got it already. I just keep forgetting that I don't auto-use stuff. It seems so strange now to have been guided like a blind man by a faceless stranger whose energy is clearly waning. Disposition unknown. For all I knew, this red to even have disposition to speak of is a seething mass of conflicting emotions. I knew that my radio-reliant friend must have been cocooned nearby, and perhaps in finding him, I find myself one step closer to understanding what was going on. In just a couple of hours, I'd find what I was looking for, and with it would come answers. I did didn't realize at the time, but the answers I found when the questions I hadn't even asked. Alright. Well, let's see, if I load game, be 15, 20. Okay, if I load game, I'll load into here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. This is it. This has been Penumbra Overture for now. I've been enjoying the game. I kind of like these. They're a little bit like walking simulators, but unlike the Amnesia games, you can actually fight back. And to me, it's easier to clear the area and then go exploring than to do anything else. I'm starting to get used to the combat. Still don't understand what the undead wolves are about. You can clearly see they're undead because, you know, they're all mutilated and stuff. But that's about it. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. And if you're on YouTube, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It'll really help out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're on Twitch, please follow along. I really just enjoy getting new people to follow, and I hope you had some fun with this. I know I certainly did. I found that the glow stick is probably the best source of lighting that isn't actual light. The flashlight is very much secondary because it's very finite. Yeah, thanks for joining. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your weekend. This is Llama in Question, and I am out.